Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Thursday, January the 23rd, and we're here to look at new releases that have been published in this week. And on Thursdays, we look at fantasy and science fiction. Quick announcements. I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do live reading sprints every Tuesday and Thursday evening and Saturday afternoon, 3 times a week for a total of 10 hours. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's 2.5 hours each. On Fridays, it is 5 hours. So lots of opportunities to read. I made the mistake here in the last few minutes waiting for the my time is 6 o'clock for the 6 o'clock hour to roll around. I started reading my book, and I want to just keep reading it. So, note to self: don't do that again. Hope you are warm. Hope you are safe. Hope you're reading good books. Let's jump into fantasy and science fiction. I'm completely in the dark about a new book out this week for the fantasy people, but this is not the one. We'll do this one first, giving a little bit of time for people to grab their cup of coffee if they are looking at this live. First up, Artificial Agent by J.W. Jarvis. Loyalty runs through Michael Cooling's veins. Abandoned by his father as a kid and devoted to his mother, the highly decorated Navy SEAL gladly leads a mission to extract 2 Ukrainian generals held by Russia. But after falling into the hands of a brutal Russian officer and nearly killed, the heroic patriot ends up comatose in a hospital bed and unknowingly paralyzed. Determined to escape a wheelchair-bound existence, the wounded warrior undergoes surgery to integrate an untested high-tech endoskeleton into his ravaged human flesh. No thank you. And as he trains tirelessly to adapt to his new synthetic body, he develops an unprecedented strength and speed he hopes will help him crush those who would see the USA fall. Yet, as old hatreds come home to roost, his newfound powers will be enough to stop the world being brought to its knees. It's a gripping techno thriller. It reminded me of the $6 Million Man. And the strange concept at that time, $6 million was a lot. I mean, it's a lot for regular people, but nowadays that would be probably $500 million or more. But the $6 Million Man, but all he really did was do the crime of the week kind of stuff. You spend that much money on a guy, you send him overseas into espionage things. All right, the big one of the week for fantasy people, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. It is 3rd in the Empyrean series. The first book was Fourth Wing. So book 3, Onyx Storm. After nearly 18 months at Basgiath War College, Violet Sorrengail knows there's no more time for lessons, no more time for uncertainty, because the battle has truly begun, and with enemies closing in from outside their walls and within their ranks, it's impossible to know who to trust. Now Violet must journey beyond the failing Eurasian wards to seek allies from unfamiliar lands to stand with Navarre. The trip will test every bit of her wit, luck, and strength, but she will do anything to save what she loves, her dragons, her family, her home, and him. Even if it means keeping a secret so big it could destroy everything. They need an army. They need power. They need magic. And they need the one thing only Violet can find, the truth. But a storm is coming, and not everyone can survive its wrath. Boudica by PC Cast. In Roman-occupied Britain, the Iceni tribe crowns an extraordinary new queen. Tall and flame-haired, Boudica is devoted to Andraste, the Iceni's patron goddess, known for her raven familiar, her fierceness, and her swirling blue tattoos. Boudica and her 2 young daughters will carry the tribe forward in dangerous times. Roman tax collector Catus Decianus Expecting weakness in a female ruler, launches a devastating attack on the tribe's stronghold. Boudica and her family barely survive, but they refuse to bend the knee. She calls a war council, bringing together her most trustworthy allies, including her childhood friend Ran, now a powerful druid seer, and the horsemaster Maldwin, whose devotion to Boudica runs deeper than a warrior to a queen. Surprising the Romans, Boudica's armies sack the wealthy cities of Camalodunum, Londinium, and Verulamium as the snow falls and Celts retreat to a hidden valley to plot their assault on the remaining Roman legions, determined to force the invaders from Britain. But in the jagged ice of winter, the druid Ran foresees a tragic end to Boudica's rebellion. Although the defeat of the Iceni is spelled out in signs sent by the gods, Ran swears she will alter the future and save her queen. Now the battle-hardened Boudica must put her trust in the powers of the other world to save her from both the traitors in her midst and from Rome's mighty legions. I guess this is marked fantasy because it's based on history. It's not really mythology. Oh well. I only read the descriptions. Moth Eater by Linda H. Kodega. After her best friend dies in a coal mine, Beneathia, Benny Maddox, sacrifices her job, her relationship, and her reputation to uncover what's killing miners on Keir Mountain. When she finds a half-drowned white woman in a dirty mine slough, Benny takes her in because it's right, but also because she hopes this odd, magnetic stranger can lead her to the proof she needs. Instead, she brings more questions. The woman called Moth Eater can't remember her true name or how she ended up inside the mountain. She knows only that she's a witch of Appalachia, bound to Tor and Holler, Possum and Snake, with power in her hands and scripture on her tongue. But the mystery of her fate, her doomed quest to keep industry off Keir Mountain, and the promises she bent and broke have followed her a century and a half into the future. And now the choices Moth Eater and Benny make together could change the face of the town itself. Interesting. And number 1. Hi, Ariel. Good morning. Boudica sounds quite interesting. I shall have to check it out. And Moth Eater also sounds quite good. Good morning, Elena. How you doing? You are good? Oh, good. I am also good. Just woke up. Oh. Hope you had a good night. The Legend of Manika. We'll say Manika. By Kritika H. Rao. Across the mortal and immortal realms, celestial dancers known as Asperas are revered for their beauty, allure, and enchanting magic. But Manika knows that is not all they are. Trained as a weapon, a warrior, Manika despises leaving each of her marks in thrall to her potent illusions. With every seduction Lord Indra, King of Heaven, demands of her for his political gain, she craves her freedom more and more. When a mortal sage's growing powers threaten Indra's supremacy in his own realm, Manika seizes a rare opportunity. She strikes a deal. If she can seduce this dangerous man, Indra will allow her to forego future missions. He's not telling you the truth. But upon meeting the sage, Kaushika, Manika finds herself captivated by his energy, ignited by his empathy and passion, even though he challenges everything she's ever known. Can she overthrow the man who is, little by little, stealing her heart? Or is Kaushika seducing her instead? As war looms in the skies, Manika must choose between her duty to protect her home and the sage who is showing her what true love can mean. Based on Hindu mythology. Excuse me. The Rainfall Market by Yu Yongguang, and the translator is Slin Yung. If you could swap your life for a better one, Which would you choose? On the outskirts of Rainbow Town, there is an old abandoned house. They say that if you send a letter detailing your misfortunes there, you could receive a ticket. If you bring this ticket to the house on the first day of the rainy season, you'll be granted entrance into the mysterious rainfall market, where you can choose to completely change your life. No one is more surprised than Saren when she receives a ticket. Lonely and with no real prospects for a future, Saren ventures to the market, determined to create a better life for herself. There she meets a magical cat companion named Isha, and they search through bookstores, perfumeries, and fantastical realms while Saren tries to determine what her perfect life will look like. The catch? Saren only has 1 week to find her happiness or be doomed to vanish into the market forever. And all the while, a shadow follows quietly behind them. Dot, 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 dot. Those Fatal Flowers by Shannon Ives. This is Greco-Roman mythology. Oh, and the mystery of the vanished Roanoke colony. Interesting. Before Scopuli. It has been centuries since Thelia made the mistake that cost her the woman she loved, Proserpina, the goddess of spring. As the handmaidens charged with protecting Proserpina, when she was kidnapped, Thelia and her sisters are banished to the island of Scopuli and cursed to live as sirens, winged half-women, half-bird creatures. In luring sailors to their deaths with an irresistible song, the sisters hope to gain favor from the gods who could free them. But then ships stop coming, and Thelia fears a fate worse than the underworld. Just as time begins to run out, a voice emerges, Proserpina's voice, and what she asks of Thelia will spark a dangerous quest for their freedom. Now, Roanoke. Thelia can't bear to reflect on her last moments in Scopuli. After weeks drifting at sea alone, Thelia's renewed human body, a result of her last devastating sacrifice on Scopuli, is close to death. Luckily, an unfamiliar island appears on the horizon, Roanoke. Posing as a princess arriving on a sailboat filled with riches, Thelia infiltrates a small English colony. It doesn't take long for her to realize that this place is dangerous, especially for women. As she grows closer to a beautiful settler who mysteriously resembles her former love, Thelia formulates a plan to save her sisters and enact revenge on the violent men she's come to despise. But is she willing to go back to Scopuli and face the consequences of her past decisions? And will Proserpina forgive her for all that she's done? Sounds like a happy read. Ariel says lots of good recommendations today. And Emily, just joining. I'm assuming you talked about. Yes, I did already. Did you see the message I sent you on Discord? On YouTube, somebody has put the complete audiobook of it for free. You just need to search Onyx Storm audiobook. But I did put the link. Bloodshot by Fred Van Lente. This is tagged as The Bourne Identity Meets X-Men. He wakes up in the middle of the woods with chalk-white skin, the ability to heal from any injury, and no memory of who or what he is. He is Bloodshot, and now he's caught between the shadowy defense contractor who wants to capture him and the underground network of psychic teens that want to destroy him. Now, Kalia, the girl who found him, has a target on her back just for trying to help him. To save himself and his friends, Bloodshot must stay alive long enough to unravel the mystery of his own identity and deal with the real possibility that his own family are the ones who most want him dead. Well, he's just not having a good day. End of that row. The Crown So Silver by Lyra Celine. Book 2 in the Fair Folk series. After her sacrifice on the Ember Moon, Thea is flush with powerful magic and eager to rush into battle against her murderous sister Ayla. However, Fia's new husband, Irian, suggests they bide their time and retreat to the Silver Isle, a snowy island at the edge of the Feyworld. Ruled by the cunning Smith King, the Silver Isle proves far from a safe haven. Fia and Irian become embroiled in the Tournament of Kings, competing for a magical forging of immense power. Their relationship will be put to the test as they navigate their conflicting motivations, shifting allegiances, and ancient magic. With the end of the tournament looming and Ayla's threat growing, Fia must decide just how much she's willing to sacrifice to defeat her sister. Well, that's a twist on the sister trope in fantasy. Nobody's trying to save a sister, they're fighting. J.N. Chaney and Jasper T. Scott have a new series called Rebel. This is Rebel Galaxy. Their mission was to colonize the stars. Now they are humanity's last hope for freedom. Captain Gideon Wallace is the commander of Trailblazer 8, an interstellar colony ship carrying 600 souls to a distant star. Their first stop along the way is the thriving human settlement on Aurora, also known as Proxima Centauri b. Iris, the ship's robot caretaker, awakens the crew early with a chilling message from the President of the United Star Systems. Earth has fallen to an extraterrestrial invasion. Wallace's orders are to stay as far away from Earth as possible and to pick a new destination so that they can't be followed. The survival of the human race depends on them. But when Wallace discovers the true nature of the enemy's plans, he realizes that running is no longer an option. They have no choice but to fight back. This next one appears to be lit RPG-ish. Weapons Master 8, A Monster Girl by Phil Eriks. Closing in. From almost the first day I arrived in Valore, having been abducted by dark magical creatures, I've had one thing on my mind: kill the demigod heir, with all those he's slain, including my best friend. Here I am, with the friends and family I've gathered while fighting for my life in this strange world, a world so different from my own. One thing is universal, though. Tyrants whose sole purpose is to exploit and destroy people need to be put down. In Valore, somehow, the task fell to me. Not in that dress, baby. Not that I'm complaining. If anyone is going to destroy the 1,000-year-old villain who literally drains the life force from others to gain power, I'd rather it be me. The one big problem we face is finding our enemy. He's hiding, I'm sure of it, waiting until he's gained enough power to overwhelm any opposition. But we're closing in. Sure, we're following a weak trail, but it is a trail. We'll find him and end him. The only questions are what we'll face along the way, and if we lose any of our small number doing so. There's also the small issue of how to kill a magical entity who survived the full strength of an army of the world's greatest power centuries ago. This is just a little thing. It's time for Air the ever-hungering to die, and this time it needs to stick. Chimera's Fall by Glenn Stewart, 16th in the Starship Mage series. The power and reach of Mars are beyond question. The limits of that power are all too real. At the edge of their reach, even they cannot save everyone. Faced with the terror-inspiring might of the reawakened Rijkaj, the Church of the Nine that once ruled hundreds of stars, the people of the dual republics of Chimera have asked Mars and humanity for protection. For now, the Protectorate is united behind their Mage Queen. Ambassador Connor O'Hannigan and Mage Captain Rosalind Chambers are charged to do everything they can, but the reality is grim. The Protectorate is too far away. The Chimera system cannot be saved, but the Chimeran people might be. Even as every warship Mars can spare is rushed forward to their new ally, massive fleets of transports are assembled to carry as many people to safety as possible. The magical power of Mars can save some of Chimera's people, human and Rij alike, but if steel and magic cannot guard the innocent, Chambers, O'Hannigan, and others all face a quite harsh question. When Chimera falls, who stays behind? Mentioning Mars reminds me, that's the end of that row. Are you paying attention to what's going on astrologically in a couple days? 7 of the planets are going to line up. Hasn't happened in several hundred years. He says, I saw it, wondering how long it will take for that link to be taken down for copyright infringement. You'd be surprised. I have found other books out there, like Joe Abercrombie's. Ariel, Emily, how is Onyx Storm so far? I've been hearing so much buzz in my book group on Facebook. I'm only 4 chapters in, so it's too soon to say. Ariel, I started Fourth Wing, and so far it's been okay. Interested to see if I'll enjoy it as much as everyone says. I read it when Fourth Wing when it first came out. I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. Everybody's reading experience is different based on what their taste is. I gave it a 3, and 3 for me is I liked it. Ariel, that's exciting about the planets. Yes, I would love to be at some astrological observation site. We have time for one more. Actually, we won't. We'll just look at the last few here. A Hunt No More by Renee Jager and Michael Anderle. 9th in the Valerie Stonehold series. She looks tough. She's a giant dwarf with a mission. Can you be a dwarf if you're a giant one? I have questions. Trailer Park Elves, a humorous lit RPG slice of life adventure, first in a series by Michael Dalton and Adam Lance. Trailer Park Elves. She's got some honking big ears. And My Funny Demon Valentine. Oops, sorry about that. Hellbent book number 1 by Aurora Asher. 1 of 5. How do you know there's going to be 5? This wasn't already previous. It's Kindle Unlimited. And it says it's published this week. Oh, well. Well, that is all that we have time for in Fantasy and Science Fiction Thursday. Tomorrow is Freeform Friday. So we'll look probably more at more cozy mysteries, catch up on those, and anything else that looks interesting to me to call attention to. Emily says, I enjoy it for what it is. When I read it, I'm looking for a good time. For me, I have been reading sci-fi fantasy since the 70s, and I am more of an epic fantasy person. I enjoy the quest. I enjoy the company of companions going to save the kingdom kind of stories. I'm not that much into romantasy, which to me, the emphasis is more on the love angle of things. I want the quest. And that's why I am not giving it more than 3 stars. But it's a huge, huge subgenre right now, and more power to them. Ariel says, everyone have an amazing day. Back at you, baby. And Emily, everyone have a good day. Same to you. Keep enjoying. I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. Bring your own book, work on a project, or just close your eyes. It is time carved out for you for self-care. Have a good day. Be safe, be warm, read good books. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day, Elena. And he says, but Fourth Wing is not that kind of fantasy. It is romantasy. That's what I said. And you have to judge it for what it is, not what it is not. Exactly. See you tomorrow. God bless.